I'm Dr. Suzanne Prevost, President-elect of Sigma Theta Tau International. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I welcome you to the second presentation of the International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame. I am honored to introduce to you these esteemed nurse researchers as we conclude the 22nd International Nursing Research Congress. Have you enjoyed the Congress? Yeah. Okay, I hope you're inspired to join us for many more in the future. Today we are honoring 15 distinguished nurse researchers. This unique recognition eternally honors Sigma Theta Tau International members who have achieved long-term national or international recognition for their work and whose research has impacted the nursing profession and the health of the people it serves. The presentation of the International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame is sponsored by Wiley-Blackwell. On behalf of the Sigma Theta Tau Board of Directors, I thank Wiley-Blackwell for their contributions and for their continued support. And at this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Griselda Campbell. On behalf of Wiley-Blackwell, she's our nursing publisher who works with the Sigma Theta Tau staff and editors on the Journal of Nursing Scholarship and Worldviews on Evidence-Based Nursing.
Thank you, Dr. Prevost, for that introduction. I'm delighted to be here as global publisher for our nursing journals representing Wiley-Blackwell. We are privileged to work with the Honor Society of Nurses, a dynamic and forward-looking organization. And it's an honor for Wiley-Blackwell to be the sponsors for the prestigious International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame Award, which recognizes the exemplar work of world-leading scholars. For today's recipients, looking across their varied contributions to furthering nursing science and building the knowledge base in nursing and healthcare, it's heartening to see that Wiley-Blackwell has been able to contribute over the years to the dissemination of their work. From journals such as Journal of Nursing Scholarship, Worldviews in Evidence-Based Nursing, also Research in Nursing and Health, Journal of Advanced Nursing, Journal of Clinical Nursing, and also broader influence through journals such as Criminology and Public Policy, Cancer Practice, Health Services Research, to name but a few. Their achievements clearly reflect the underpinning foundations of the Honor Society of knowledge, scholarship, leadership, and service. Today's recipients have touched the lives of so many people, students, colleagues, nurses, and healthcare professionals and policymakers around the world, and have a lasting impact on improving the healthcare of patients and clients and their families. It's an honor to be here on this occasion to mark their achievements. Thank you.
Thank you again, Griselda, and again, our thanks to Wiley-Blackwell for sponsoring this event. Now I invite Sigma Theta Tau International President, Dr. Karen Morin, and CEO, Dr. Patricia Thompson, to come to the stage for the presentation of the International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame honorees. I will introduce each honoree in alphabetical order and invite them to join us on the stage. Please hold your applause until all of the introductions have been made. Certainly, time does not allow us to tell you about all of the work that these esteemed researchers have done, but there is more information about each of them on our Virginia Henderson Electronic Library. After all of the honorees have been introduced, I will pose some questions to the honorees that have been submitted by conference attendees. It's now my privilege to introduce to you the 2011 International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame honorees. First, Dr. Jacqueline Campbell. Dr. Campbell's research on violence against women, a study of intimate partner homicide, was published in 1981 and was considered to be groundbreaking in its findings. Early in her career, Dr. Campbell connected with researchers and advocates around the world who were just beginning to note the health consequences and costs of intimate partner violence. In the mid-1990s, she was invited to the World Health Organization for a long-standing consultation related to their initiatives to end violence around the world. Her internationally known instrument for assessing risk of homicide, known as the danger instrument, or danger assessment rather, is being used by domestic violence shelters, domestic violence advocates, and emergency departments and other settings in 7 countries and in 28 of the 50 U.S. states. As primary investigator of an interdisciplinary pre- and postdoctoral training grant on violence research that is now in its 12th year of funding, Dr. Campbell has chaired and served on numerous dissertation committees in not only the U.S., but China, Egypt, Tanzania, and she has also been an external examiner for dissertations in Australia, Canada, South Africa, Sweden, and currently in Hong Kong. Next, we honor Dr. Zhang Wei Chen. Dr. Chen's research area is in women's health. She has published more than 100 research papers, which can be categorized into maternal neonatal well-being, complementary and alternative therapy, and nursing education. Because of her sustained research achievement in pre- and postnatal depression, Dr. Chen was invited by the Taiwan Department of Health to conceive and finalize the teaching materials for their handbook on postpartum depression. Her findings have been published in international journals, including the Journal of Advanced Nursing, the Journal of Women's Health, and the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. She's also written or edited several textbooks on maternity nursing and women's health. Dr. Chen has been principal investigator on 23 grants. Her outstanding research achievements and cordial academic style not only resulted in the establishment of a women's healthcare model for Taiwan, but also positioned her as a very positive role model for both undergraduate and graduate nursing students. Dr. Inga Corliss has devoted her career to the specialty of HIV/AIDS and is an expert in the practice of palliative care. She has witnessed the transformation of this disease from certain mortality to a chronic illness. She was on the forefront of examining care for persons living with HIV/AIDS and developed substantial literature for practice on the nurse's role in supporting dying with dignity. She was an early pioneer in the investigation of quality of life issues of HIV-infected persons and the role of stigma in their lives and their communities. She has disseminated her findings globally with an emphasis on how nurses can intervene to improve an individual's quality of life and mitigate the social consequences of disclosing one's HIV status. Dr. Corliss's work in South Africa on care for persons living with HIV/AIDS has been instrumental in demonstrating how nurses can influence health policy. As a full professor, she's a teacher and mentor who supports students not only in scholarly work, but also in DMP, capstone clinical projects. Dr. Corliss reviews as well as serves on the editorial board for numerous interdisciplinary journals, and her manuscripts have been published in over 70 publications. As a nurse historian, Dr. Julie Fairman has advanced an internationally recognized and integrated program of influential scholarship and research. She has written 2 award-winning books and has published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Other historians and policymakers have used her research as background or supporting evidence in many notable ways, including the U.S. Nurse Reinvestment Act of 2002 and the recent U.S. Institute of Medicine report on the future of nursing. Because of her commitment to innovative research, Dr. Fairman's work has been supported in the U.S. by the National Endowment for the Humanities, the National Library of Medicine, and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Since 2006, Dr. Fairman has served as the director of the Barbara Bates Center for the Study of the History of Nursing, which is considered the most highly regarded nursing history research center in the world and has become a model for other new nursing history research centers. Many faculty have sought Dr. Fairman as a consultant, including the Irish Center for Nursing and Midwifery, the Ministry of Health in New Zealand, the Universidad de Navarra in Spain, and she has served as a chair or member of numerous doctoral dissertation committees and mentored international graduate students. During the past 25 years, Dr. Fanny Gaston-Johansson has been making substantial contributions to symptom management research in nursing science. Dr. Gaston-Johansson has earned an international reputation as an innovative administrator, educator, and clinician. She's received continuous funding for her research since 1983, totaling more than $7.6 million. 7.6 million US dollars, I should have said. In 2001, she became the first female dean of the University of Gothenburg, Sweden, where she started the first Swedish PhD nursing program. The main focus of Dr. Gaston-Johansson's research is symptom evaluation and management, with an emphasis on multiple symptoms, including pain, depression, fatigue, anxiety, and interventions centered on coping strategies to reduce multiple symptoms and improve the quality of life of patients and their families. She's published more than 80 database journal articles, written several book chapters, and presented her work at numerous national and international conferences, focusing on evaluation and management of symptoms, stress and coping in acute and chronic illness, palliative care, health disparities, pain, cardiovascular disease, and quality of life. Dr. Kay Hirth sends her sincere regrets that she can't be with us today. Dr. Hirth's research and instrument development on hope, most recently the Hirth Hope Intervention Program, has enhanced nursing education, research, and practice. In the 70s, Dr. Hirth began publishing her work addressing psychosocial issues among ill adults. Her research over the next decade examined the phenomenon of hope among adults experiencing cancer. She's published more than 40 papers and presented at more than 100 conferences. The Hirth Hope Scale has been translated into 8 languages, and the Hirth Hope Index has been translated into 12 languages. Next, Dr. Wipida, yes, Dr. Hirth. Next, Dr. Wipida Kunavakatal. She is a professor and director of Nursing Policy and Outcome Center at Chiang University in Thailand. She also serves on the National Board of Thailand Healthcare Accreditation Institute and the advisory board of the Thailand Nursing and Midwifery Council. Dr. Kunavakatal, known internationally as Dr. Wipida, which is much easier to say, thank you, is a leading nurse researcher in Thailand and across Southeast Asia. Her scholarly contributions have had a sustained impact in the Asian region and internationally. As the founding director of Thailand's Nursing Policy and Outcome Center, Dr. Wipida is mentoring faculty and students alike as the center undertakes research projects, disseminates its work, and prepares nurses to collaborate around the world. Dr. Wipida's work to advance nursing research and build an infrastructure to support and promote nursing research and international collaboration in Thailand, China, and across Southeast Asia will have an impact for years to come. Next, not the person you are seeing, but next I will introduce Dr. Elaine Marston, who also couldn't be with us today. Dr. Marston is widely recognized as one of the world's leading experts in hand hygiene and infection control. She has been the primary researcher in North America that prompted the movement from soap and water to alcohol-based hand hygiene and hand sanitizers in clinical institutions. Her research, along with research by colleagues in Europe and Asia, was referenced as rationale for the development and implementation of the World Health Organization guidelines for hand hygiene in healthcare settings. With more than 400 peer-reviewed publications and over 70 funded research projects, her work is highly regarded by scholars and clinicians both nationally and internationally. Her work has led to widespread improvements in hospital infection control and prevention of infections also in community settings. Over her career, Dr. Larson has served on editorial boards for 14 journals and since 1996, she has continuously served as the editor of the American Journal of Infection Control. She's been a mentor to countless faculty members and students. Dr. Larson has provided mentorship for pre- and postdoctoral fellows, several international scholars, and according to one of her letters of support, her network of research associates and mentees could fill this auditorium. Next, Dr. Bernadette Melnick. Dr. Melnick's career has been dedicated to improving the health outcomes of highly vulnerable children and adolescents. Specifically, her sustained research trajectory over the past 25 years has focused on the development and testing of theory-based interventions to improve coping and mental health outcomes in hospitalized and critically ill children and premature infants and their parents. She has also translated those findings into clinical interventions to improve healthcare quality and patient outcomes through evidence-based practice. Her record includes more than 170 publications and over $11 million in research funding. Dr. Melnick's program on creating opportunities for parental empowerment has been developed over the course of her career to support parents with critically ill children and newborns. The program has been implemented in hospitals in 9 countries and has been translated into Spanish. She has delivered hundreds of national and international presentations and workshops and worked with hospitals and nurses and other interdisciplinary healthcare providers to translate research findings into evidence-based practice. Dr. Ann Minnick cannot be with us today as well, but I'll share a little bit with you about her work. Her work focuses on issues, health workforce issues and improvement of quality of care by influencing system, provider, and patient practices. She was among the first to note the U.S. nursing shortage in the 1980s. Her original grant-funded studies formed the basis of U.S. governmental and institutional decision-making regarding nursing trends in recruitment and retention. In the improvement of care quality arena, Ann's work is considered an established reference source. Dr. Minnick and her team have been cited by U.S. quality organizations and accreditors for several years. For example, the Joint Commission used her findings on physical restraint use to help determine their standards. Dr. Minnick has received numerous teaching awards for being a mentor and role model, and her articles in practice and management journals on restraints and device disruption usually generate more than 100 requests for copies from each paper. Dr. Minnick has been named as an honorary senior nurse scientist at Mass General Hospital. Her scholarship has also been recognized in her appointments to 2 editorial boards and as a reviewer for 7 other journals. Next, Dr. Moreau Michelle. Dr. Michelle has made outstanding contributions to nursing science through her sustained program of research on developing and testing interventions that support optimal management of uncertainties inherent in the experience of serious illness. Dr. Michelle is best known for the development of the middle-range nursing theory, uncertainty in illness. Today, 30 years later, nurses find that this theory, its associated measures, and the related research findings are continuing to provide the evidence base for patient care. Since 1984, she has been principal investigator on multiple U.S. grants from both the National Institute of Nursing Research and the National Cancer Institute. She has disseminated the results of her studies in multiple research and clinical journals that reach a broad array of nursing and interdisciplinary audiences, including the Journal of Psychosocial Oncology. Beyond her own program of research, Dr. Michelle has mentored several nurse scientists who are making important contributions to oncology nursing across the U.S. Next, we honor Dr. Kai Moore. For 25 years, Dr. Moore has focused her active program of research on childhood cancer. In 1988, Dr. Moore and her research colleagues published one of the first studies evaluating central nervous system toxicities in children with cancer. This research launched Dr. Moore on a lifetime of work advancing biobehavioral research in children with cancer. Dr. Moore was selected as one of the first 4 nurse scholars to join the Children's Oncology Group funded by the National Cancer Institute. As a nurse scholar, Dr. Moore has mentored advanced practice nurse clinicians in nursing research within a cooperative clinical trial organization. She's been a mentor to pre-doctoral and doctoral students who have taken on leadership positions across the U.S. and Europe. She has been an invited member of numerous U.S. study section review committees and internationally has served as a consultant for establishing pediatric oncology nursing standards. Dr. Moore has also consulted with several colleagues in Taiwan, Thailand, and Brazil on building programs of nursing research in pediatric oncology. And Dr. Moore has held leadership positions with the Association of Pediatric Oncology Nurses and the American Cancer Society. Next, I introduce to you Dr. Deborah Mosier. Dr. Mosier's program of research has been continually funded since 1989. It centers around people with or at risk for cardiovascular disease and is focused on improving their psychological well-being and their quality of life. She has served as the primary investigator and received over $7 million US, and she has also been co-investigator on numerous other funded studies conducted by other principal investigators. Dr. Mosier is the author of more than 200 journal articles, 3 books, and more than 20 book chapters, and she has presented her research at more than 40 international conferences. Dr. Mosier has served as an external examiner for doctoral students in Australia, Ireland, Pakistan, Scotland, Taiwan, Thailand, the Netherlands, etc. And Dr. Mosier is currently serving as visiting professor at Trinity College School of Nursing and Midwifery in Dublin, Ireland. With Dr. Mosier's mentorship, the nurse researchers at Trinity College received funding from the Irish National Health Research Board for their research agenda. Dr. Mosier is the co-editor of the Journal of Cardiovascular Nursing and is an editorial board member for several other peer-reviewed journals. Dr. Mosier has received numerous awards and recognition, including the Lifetime Achievement Award of the American Heart Association in recognition of her excellence in cardiovascular research. We have some irreverent Kentuckians in the crowd. Next, Dr. Mary Neese. For more than 25 years, I didn't mean to give you more years than you want. For more than 25 years, which is plenty, Dr. Mary Neese has received funding for her research in the areas of community health, women's health, nutrition, and wellness, with an emphasis on illuminating the differences between white and black women. More recently, she's studied alcohol prevention in young adult populations. Her studies of exercise and activity to promote wellness in adult women and improving health promotion in the community have been incorporated into graduate-level nursing courses and influence the practice of nurses across the U.S. Her work predates the current focus on obesity prevention, which demonstrates her importance as a scholar in this arena. For years, her research and scholarly work has influenced care in the community and the education of rising scholars in doctoral programs. Her successful and widely co-edited text, Community Public Health Nursing, Promoting the Health of Populations, is now in its 5th edition, and it received the American Journal of Nursing Book of the Year Award upon its initial publication. Dr. Neese has secured more than $10 million US in research funding and has been published in more than 100 peer-reviewed journals. She has served in leadership roles in the U.S., including an appointment to research and review panels at the Center for Disease Control and the newly created National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities. Sigma Theta Tau International past president, Dr. May Weichel, has a long and distinguished career in supporting and conducting research, particularly in minority populations and with frail elders. Dr. Weichel conducted the first study of African American caregivers and has published seminal research on non-traditional caregiving. Dr. Weichel has been principal investigator on U.S. research grants funded by the National Institute on Aging, the National Institute of Mental Health, and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, among multiple others. In pursuing her research, she developed an international interest in elder care and initiated educational programs in Africa, Asia, and Europe, as well as the U.S. Dr. Weichel has been a teacher and mentor of students and researchers across several disciplines, including nursing, medicine, sociology, and social work. Dr. Weichel played a central role in developing Case Western Reserve University Center on Aging and Health in collaboration with the late Marie Hogue. Through her efforts as director of the Center on Aging from 1988 to 2008, young faculty and graduate students have been mentored to become leaders in gerontology. Dr. Weichel has presented her research both nationally and internationally and has been published in prestigious journals including The Gerontologist, the Journal of Applied Social Sciences, and Research on Aging. Please join me again in a round of applause for our 2011 International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame inductees. Strange buzz in the air.